What is going on, folks? TJ Lauerman, aka That Sports Gamer here, head of community for Out of the Park Developments. And tonight, as you saw in the trailer that we just watched, we are going to do a franchise deep dive. So I have the voice of God with me, none other than Matt Arnold. Matt, how's it going?
Going good. Thanks for having me.
Hopefully, you guys can hear him, and I got the levels all sounding good. So we got Matt here, and since we have Matt here, Blue Jays hat on because I assume you're in Canada at this moment.
Yeah, I'm all good. It sounds
Or for the next few hours at least, you're still in Canada.
for the next few hours at least. Yeah.
We got a big slate of stuff to talk about tonight. Obviously, we're going to be talking about Out of the Park Baseball 21. We are in Out of the Park Baseball 21 right now, as you can see. A couple things. Obviously, we're still, what are we, 3 weeks out? Or 2.5 weeks out? Well, we got a lot of stuff to do, Matt. Uh, uh, Rosters and the ratings and stuff are still not finalized. They're still going through a bunch of the guys, especially prospects and stuff, is still being finalized. The game is not finalized yet, so if I accidentally break anything tonight, that's something we'll fix before the game actually goes out. If you haven't already, you can head over to ootpdevelopments.com/pre-order to get your pre-orders in now. If you do that, you will get access to the game, to the beta of the game on March 17th, and the game will have its full release on March 20th. So if you want to pick it up in Steam, you can go over and add it to your Steam wishlist right now. I think that's it. Currently, if you do the pre-order, also on top of getting it early, you also save 10%. But if you're on a store like Steam or the Mac App Store, we will have the game on sale 10% off for the first week, so you can still get those savings. Matt, how's it going, buddy?
It's going good. I'm deep into a lot of topics tonight.
Yeah, we got a lot to talk about tonight. We got scouting. We're gonna talk about we'll just talk about five main things we're gonna hit tonight. Number one is scouting. Number two, drafting. Number three is a new thing we got, the prospect pipeline in the game now. The new league expansion window, and some new stuff on the coaches list. All great stuff that's gonna make your franchise feel that much realer. Someone said I look like Kevin James, which I've never heard before, so that's a first. So Matt, tell me a little bit about what you wanted to do this year in Out of the Park Baseball 21 with scouting.
All right. So what do we have with scouting here? Is that the sorry, my audio is cutting out a little bit, but yeah. So with scouting, the big changes that everyone wants to hear about is the scouting accuracy. I think that's the sort of big new part of scouting.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to open up a player page, we can see this, beautiful new little icon on screen.
All right. Well, so in this franchise that I have loaded up, we are the Mariners. So obviously, Jared Kelenic hit a home run today. So let's go take a look at him. So now we have this new scouting accuracy icon under the summary of the player. Also, for reference, this stream is the game window is at 1600 by 900. If you're curious why I have more windows than some people or less windows than some people. Hit me. Scouting accuracy.
All right. All right, so scouting accuracy. So I guess we'll back up a little bit here and go through some of the reasons why we did some changes. So for us, scouting was a little slow sometimes, I guess you would say. There wasn't a whole lot to do with it. So we've decided to really revamp a lot of the whole way that scouting works. The change is that scouting reports now will come in a lot more organically than they did. So before you used to get your report like every 2 months on the nose or every month on the nose, depending or so on your settings. But your reports will really come in a little haphazardly or a little spaced out a little bit.
Mm.
But you might get a couple reports coming in fairly quickly if there's a couple of views on a guy. But if you're not putting the effort into it, you might only get one report a season on some players. So with that, essentially the number of reports that you get will, in a lot of ways, determine what kind of accuracy you end up with. So it's essentially boils down to is the more reports you get and the more recent the reports you get, the higher accuracy report that you'll end up seeing.
And these are the reports from your head scout, not from OSA, right?
OSA reports also come in a little bit haphazardly, so they won't come in regularly either. Although OSA reports do essentially always come in with the same accuracy, that a sort of average to low default accuracy.
Okay. Let's hop over to the scouting tab then. And check out the
Yeah, so
new
with
customization that we can do here.
yeah, so with this, we've also figured we'd yeah. So I guess just a little bit more too on the accuracy is that this is obviously the more accurate a report is, the better details you're going to get. But if you really want to see what the report is about, then you can go to the player scouting tab and you can see their whole scouting history here. So most of these widgets are essentially the same past, although the big difference is now is that the whole screen is completely customizable. So if you want to move to whatever layout you prefer, you can do that, which especially for some people who have really large monitors, you may decide to switch things, perhaps see a little side-by-side view. Because with all of this, you can see all of these tabs essentially for either your scout or for OSA, or in many cases, you can see either both of them on the same tab, or there's also a choice option, which means if you use the little scouting the screen, you can kind of flip back and forth between OSA ratings or your head scout ratings. So maybe we should have picked a league that had a little bit of history on the, but yeah. So if you want to back and various between the OSA tab and your head scout tab, or the selectors at the top, then you can kind of see, head to head, or it'll quickly kind of flip back and forth which options that you want to see. So this I believe is the sort of default layout. So you get a nice big view of the scouting history, and you can see the written reports and the development reports over time. But I certainly imagine some people will come up with some very creative ways to lay out the screen too.
Yeah, and I think depending on your screen, you can have up to 12 rows and 20 columns. So that's going to be a lot.
Yeah, it certainly gives you essentially whatever flexibility you want on this page for whatever you want to see.
We need a really big screen for 20 rows. Just saying.
Well, I mean, if you set it up for 20 rows, you might have some widgets take up 8 rows, sort of thing. So it's, it really comes down to how fine controlled, if you want it to be 40% of the height or 20% of the height or whatever.
Does the view retain if you leave and come back in? Question from
the yeah, obviously the view is stored, between come back and forth. If you exit the game and come back, it'll all be stored. So it's very similar to the way that both the team homepage, the manager homepage now are all customizable and configurable. And it'll be the same view between your saves as well.
Oh, nice. Yeah, lots of extra customization that we added this year. Because we had some screens where it was like, hey, why can we do it here? Why can't we do it here? And we said Matt fix it, and Matt fixed it. And now we can do stuff everywhere.
Yeah, no, we just wanted to give people more options, because I'm not always the best person at laying out a screen. I think it's best if you just take your own way and do what you want with it.
But yeah, we're definitely gonna do that.
Yeah, and then along with scouting, as we said, to kind of get back to the meat and bones of the meat and potatoes of the scouting system. So as we said, your scout and through time. So, Kellenick here has only got one report on him. If your next report on him, you don't necessarily know when it's going to come in. So it might be in a week from now, you might not get one till next season. So because might be a little bit annoying at times, we give you a few other options as well for how to sort of control what your scout does. So if you're on a page, you can request a scouting report for a guy. So in which case, it will be more likely that you'll get a report in the next little bit. You won't necessarily get one right away, and you won't necessarily like zoom in and get one at massively high accuracy. But you will probably get one sooner rather than later for the guys there. And then the other big change with this as well is if you go to your team scouting page under the front office, you can control some scouting needs that you want. So I think this game is a fairly new standard game, kind of on the starting date or
yeah, this is just started up.
A lot of scouting history, so maybe later in the stream we might end up simming through a little bit. But yeah, so essentially for this is now on the scouting page, you get a little bit more control over what your scout will report back on. So as we said, you can use the task list to request replies, or you can use the scouting priority system here, which is essentially the same framework as the team needs system. You might recognize a lot of similarities. And it means you can control of where your scout will focus a little bit more of their time. So again, just because you set a priority for, second baseman between the ages of, 5, with excellent potential, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get the report, for all of those guys tomorrow. It just means those reports will be a little quicker coming back than others. And then essentially the rest of the system, how often a report comes back, will depend on the amount of money you put into the various scouting categories above, your scouts' talents themselves. So if your scout is an excellent, major league scout, they'll tend to go faster through major leagues and cycling through and getting more reports on them. And so it really will matter then on, what your scout's talent is, what money you put into scouting in the various categories, plus as well what your needs are and what if you actually request for individual players.
So if I have a great minor league scout and we're putting money into minor league scouting, in theory, the next time we look at Kellenick or down the road in Kellenick, our low scouting accuracy should start going up, right?
Yeah. So if you have a great minor league scout and you put a scout in, then you're going to get a lot of reports on minor league players. One a month, maybe even more than that, on those players through the course of the season. But if you're focusing on that, you might get less reports on other players, right? So the draftables need to be scouted in the time between when the draft pool is revealed and the draft class goes. And, you want more scouting reports during that time because, again, a low accuracy report from the draft, especially the further away it is from the draft, they're just much, much worse. So you really want reports, up to the minute. Like if you can get your report on your draft class the day of the draft, that's kind of what you need to aim for. Otherwise, you might be playing with fire.
Yeah, Ramjet, we did. If you have a good minor league scout and you're spending money looking at minor league scouting, your minor league guys are going to have increased accuracy. But if you're not looking at minor league guys and you have a bad minor league scout, you're going to have low accuracy on those guys no matter what.
Yeah.
Essentially.
And
if you're not running reports for them. So there are ways to target a guy to to get better reports on those guys and have a more accurate look at what they're going to be.
Yeah, you can target players individually too, although the more players that you target individually, actually that does eat up sort of a lot of your scout's time, because if he's kind of always got to fly back to watch Kellenic play, then you're not getting as many reports from the rest of the league. So if you get a little too precise on that, you might really stifle the reports you get in. And you can see that if you go to the Scouts task list, above the task list, you also see a little page of of all the recent scouting reports that your scout has brought in. So you can kind of look and see, in this case, these are all the reports today. But if you skim forward, you can kind of choose what date, and you can see, all right, here's all the reports, all the players that I have a scouting report for the last week or the last month, and you can kind of see if they're coming back with the reports of the players that you're interested in or not.
Yeah. Yeah, and just because you scout them doesn't mean they're going to be necessarily better players, but you're going to have a better gauge on what they are going to be. But just because you scout Kellenic doesn't mean he's going to be amazing. It just means you're going to have more accurate representation of what he's going to.
Yeah, you're going to see him if he changes. You're going to trust that those numbers and your scouts changing more. You're going to see we've changed a lot of the algorithms as well under the covers for what the scouting report can give you back or not. And just more accuracy, more reports is always better, but it's sort of not an unlimited system. So you do have some choices of where you want to kind of focus your efforts.
So yeah, scouting is going to be, I think that's going to be playing a huge role in Out of the Park 21. I feel like that's something I always slacked on, and definitely going to have to get better at it now.
Yeah, that this before. To me, it was always I need a new scout, so we'll just take the biggest blue ratings you can find forever.
I can get blues and greens, I'm good.
Put the most money into all the different categories, and then don't set it, forget it once, and then never come back to it until 4 years later when I forget to renew my scout's contract.
Yeah, and then I always end up just clicking between OSA and my scout, and I'm like, I don't know which one of these to trust. I think my guy knows what's going on, but then I kind of trust OSA more than him, so so why do I even have a scout at some point? So
yeah, so as I said, we have made some more changes under the covers too, so that OSA in general actually might come out with some better reports than they did in the past, but they're kind of not going to be as precise in a lot of cases. So before, in a lot of situations, kind of your scout would say someone was like a superstar and amazing, and OSA would say they're like the worst player in baseball and shouldn't even show up on a rookie level team. So in a lot of ways, we have kind of narrowed the gaps in that too. So, looking at your scout versus OSA now will let you a little bit more of narrowing down and being precise on things. But there's still a lot of error in the OSA reports too, for sure.
And I feel like if OSA is high on a guy, but I have high accuracy and know that he's actually not going to be that good, probably a good time to flip him, right? And get him out of there. Hopefully somebody else thinks higher of him. And
yeah, no, for sure. If your scout doesn't like a guy, then you can look to get rid of him if your scout says that.
Especially with high accuracy, then you can trust it theoretically.
One more little item in scouting here that I did want to mention too. If you go to the game setup, we've also added another option for scouting reports in having
in the league options.
Yeah, it's the game setup, I guess. It's the where all the rest of the scouting options are.
You're killing me, Matt.
You link game. Yeah, so you go to the global settings.
Mm-hmm.
So in the global settings, around where the other scouting are, no scouting, but basically we've for incorporating stats and scouting reports as well. So one thing as well we've always been kind of interested in is sort of how much impact to place on how players are actually performing at the minor league levels too and major league levels. So if you turn incorporating stats into the scouting reports on as well, then your scout ratings themselves, like the contact and power and strikeouts and all that stuff, will incorporate a level of their actual statistical performance as well. And the other interesting part here is then this also impacts how much the accuracy comes in that a more accurate scouting report can dig down a little bit deeper actually into the sort of underlying ratings and see through maybe if they had, an empty batting average, or they're hitting, 450 on balls in play when they shouldn't be. So that's just another level of being able to see the scouting reports. We're still debating whether that should be the default or not. There's still, yeah, that's a little bit up in the air, as it does throw a very big wild card into the scouting ratings. But it is kind of fun to see as well. So that's why we certainly wanted to give people for which way you want to get your scouting reports.
And in the background, is the AI doing all this stuff too? Trying to get their scouting better and making them better?
Let's just say that's in progress. The AI has some advantages, I guess you would say, in that they don't need to go as well and as high in scouting as you do to see through things.
All right, so let's switch gears, though kind of the same gears, because we're going to start to talk a little bit about drafting. Why would I wanted to change some stuff about that this year?
Yeah, so I mean that's a great segue, because essentially scouting and drafting kind of came together in what we wanted to update. So when we're going through change and what we wanted to update and do to, essentially it came down to being like, we need to do something with scouting and draft. Like they were both systems that were certainly getting a little bit stale. They were, weren't as fun as they really should be. And especially drafting, which really is, I mean, the heart and soul really of being of running your franchise. I mean, that's how you get the future. And MLB is certainly as well, hyping up their draft, all their draft, during the draft weekend. There's, they put a lot more stuff out. They put a lot of effort into the prospect pipelines and promoting the top 100 prospects and stuff through the season. So we figured it was time for us to make a big push through as well.
I'm jumping a little bit further into the season so we can get into some of the draft.
All right, go.
We're dominating. Mariners got this locked up, so you can just head on out to Vegas right now and lock up the Mariners.
I don't know if we're supposed to encourage betting on anything, but
day to day, he's fine.
One nice change for the whole draft system too is, I mean, you don't actually have to sim all the way to the draft to see all the drafting stuff, because really we felt that drafting it's not just a one-day thing. It's not just on draft day or even between when the draft pool goes. The drafting page is always there and always ready for you. So if you go right now, go to the draft page, and you can actually see right now who is in the draft pool for this season and who is in the draft pool for next season and the season after that and the season after that. Now, some of this will change when your draft pool is revealed, because some players potentially could kind of flip a draft class, or we might have to create new players to pool up a little bit. But the big change is the draft page is always around. And with drafting, as I said, we've also really done a lot of work in placing people in their actual draft classes too, and making sure that draft classes players progress through like they would in real life. So you have, players are high school freshmen and sophomores and juniors and seniors. And then when they graduate as a senior, then they'll go off potentially to a junior college or to a regular college, and then only be draft available a few years down the line, depending on which of those they go to. And we've tried to map out the whole essentially high school college process in as accurate as we could be.
I think we ended up having a chat one day in our Slack about the guy that got drafted. What was it, 6 times, 5 times in real life, or something like that?
Yeah, so we may not actually be that good at mapping out players who take, a gap year, or who decide to, take a year off college to go
backpacking all around the country.
to go backpacking in the wilderness, and then they come in. Maybe down the line we can look at some storylines that could move a draft class down or something like that. But at the very least, people have draft classes, and you can go in your player list, the draft class and the school and all that into the player lists, and see exactly what class you're drafting from. So you're not just drafting a high school kid or a college kid, you're drafting a guy who's a JUCO kid, or whatever. And as well, we also figured we kind of need to actually create people. So we essentially do try to starting as high school freshmen. So when you go to draft, you don't just have kind of one line of stats on the guy. You'll probably have 3 or 4 lines to see kind of how they've progressed over time.
Yeah, we got a lot of
So I think
stuff.
this is in the MLB game. It's based on the actual draft classes. So again, we're still rating guys and doing stuff. Although, as you see here, we've got 2,000 guys for this year's draft class, and there's 1,700 guys for next year's draft class that are already into the game. That we really do, everyone's got a rating for them. Although some of them will certainly change over time.
Yeah, we keep watching those pitching ninja videos. I keep telling you guys to keep bumping guys up.
TJ sends us a note saying, this is my boy. He just threw 98 yesterday. Put his ratings up, and then we, send that over to Lucas and their team, who do all the excellent work on the draft class.
And then you guys say no, and I say okay, and then I wait a couple more days, and I send it back again.
That's just giving people the inside look at all this stuff.
Oh, so what year? That guy's a freshman? I gotta go to 2023, right? If they're a college freshman? Spencer Butt, that's not 4?
Yeah, college freshmen they'd first be eligible.
Oh, yeah, they'd be.
So some of the default draft pool, we're still got to put their high school classes in here, so that might not be quite accurate, but
I'm gonna look for people. Keep telling me about stuff. Tell me about this draft history.
Yeah. So with the draft changes, we've certainly added a whole bunch more onto this tab too. So some of the bigger changes is the draft history tab is another player list. So like this one, except you can have that filter by draft year. So that's kind of your way of saying, who was drafted back in 2018, and you can kind of have the sortable list and sort them by draft, by scout, by movement, by power. You can kind of see, maybe if you remember back to people a few years ago, you can kind of see who did pick them. I don't know if it's the historical game actually has all this information in. It'll certainly be populated as you build a new game and a new history.
Yeah, we've also added mock drafts.
Yeah, so the mock draft is one of the only parts of here that's actually not available until the draft pool is actually officially revealed. just because there was some technical issues with that.
Fine, we're simming. Let's go.
If you sim through to when the draft pool is actually revealed, then you get the mock draft that will show up. And the mock draft is essentially going through, and it's not going to be certainly exactly what everyone picks, but we do take the actual draft order and what we kind of expect people to pick, and try to put that down on paper. So that's to me, the mock draft is just a great way so that when I always found in the past, I would take guys and I would look at them and be like, oh, this guy, he's kind of average by OSA. Like, my scout thinks he's obviously like a first round talent, but does anyone else? So with the mock draft, that just kind of goes through and you can see, maybe you can kind of try to pick where someone else likes him or not, right? So if a guy who my scout adores, but OSA is kind of mad about, if the mock has round, then I still got to target him pretty good, because maybe another team likes him. But maybe if he's not, then maybe I could try to wait another round or two on him. Although obviously the mock draft is not just a one-to-one map of the underlying ratings. So while we do release the official mock draft on draft day itself, you get an email in your inbox telling you about it, and you can see it there. The actual draft itself won't quite go through the exact same order.
Question: if you have an online league with history, will the old draft show up under there? Drop downs in the draft history drop down.
I'm not entirely. It depends. I'm not quite guaranteed enough to say that yes, the draft history will be perfect for currently in running leagues. I believe it mostly should be, but sometimes data gets a little bit wonky between versions too. But at least the interesting part is if you go through the draft history, or actually any other tab, you can we've added all of the draft information as well as sortable columns too. So you can see when players were drafted. Like if you went to your team page, which I hope will actually work, the draft history won't populate anything here because we don't have any history in the default game potentially. But if you're going through a game, you can kind of look, you could see like what draft year, what pick, certain players were for both your draft history, international prospects and stuff will also show their sort of discovery years. And a lot of that information does get populated into the players. Again, I guess the MLB game, I'm not entirely positive when it goes. But this is, all available in essentially any of the player list, team roster. I mean, you could look at it on your team batting lineup stage 2 or whatever if you wanted. So there's just more history information and more things that you want to look at if you want to look at
Sounds good.
Yeah, if you go customize the columns on any of these lists, you can add all the draft history columns. I believe they're all in the sort of miscellaneous bucket of, along with all of the roster details that we've certainly tried to put as much of that in as we can, just to give you, infinite flexibility in what you see.
Didn't come up for these guys, so we'll have to figure that out.
As I said, I think perhaps in the default roster set, I don't think we get necessarily populate all that information exactly properly, but it's something we might look into as well.
Right. Now, tell me how this is different in feeder and non-feeder leagues.
Yeah, so I mean, the other interesting part about all of this is that all of this works in a lot of ways the same way in feeders or non-feeders. So we kept debating, which way to focus on and do all this stuff. But in the end, it just kind of came out that everything just works in both cases. So you can set up your feeder league. So before, the only options for feeder leagues were basically players who draft eligible, like when they aged out of the feeders. But now, so you can basically set feeders up so that they use draft classes, so that players will again go through, high school players are draft eligible as seniors, college players are eligible as juniors and seniors. Once a player graduates from high school, he'll go to, college. If you have a college feeder system, he'll try to go through the college feeder system. He'll just go through our sort of generic school system. You can set up a college JUCO feeder system, so you can set up the whole junior college versus full college. I'm not sure what the actual official terms are. And some players will go through one system or another. You can kind of control a little bit of how often they go through each way as well. But yeah, all this stuff essentially works for both feeders and non-feeders alike, for anyone to whatever level of customization you have in your universe.
Cool. So after you're drafted, you're obviously a prospect. So let's talk about the prospect pipeline.
Yeah, so along with this, we obviously felt we wanted to jazz up a little bit of the of how you actually see prospects. I guess the prospect pipeline, I believe, is only post-drafted prospects, like the kind of MLB ones come out as. So you have this, nice, cool page with showing off all the prospects, and with a lot of ways just to very quickly mix and match between whatever sort of categories and stuff you want to look at. So you can very quickly go to see, okay, who are the top 30, outfielders or third basemen, or, if you just want to quickly check, who are the Braves top prospects or the Mariners top prospects, or, the best farm system in baseball, the Blue Jays top prospects. You can see.
I think you hacked my game, because I saw Nate Pearson was up to number 3. 3 saves and a .77 ERA this year.
Nate's throwing 100 in spring action, so he's going to be fun to watch this year. But
just for you, I'll pull up the Toronto Blue Jays and see. Pearson and Kirk, but they're the only two in the top 100.
Yeah, okay. Toronto have the number 1 prospect in baseball right now, but yeah. So the prospect pipeline just gives you all this stuff. As you said, as you see, you can open up to get your quick view of the player, all the detailed ratings on them. You can see their stats. You can see what level they're on. I think there's if you open up, you can see kind of, we give an ETA on when they when we kind of think they might make the majors. I think it's listed somewhere in that
MLB
biographic info down to the left.
Yep.
So we just kind of want to give you as much cool information as there is to see, and certainly all this stuff is just great if you're or if you really just want to dig down and maybe try to trade for some of these.
When's my ETA on Jay Langley? 2022. I guess I can wait. Who else? Under Franco looked pretty good. And you can do this by OSA and your head scout for those.
Yeah, obviously.
Obvious. Gavin Luck's gonna be good. Gap Power again. Ratings not final. Though we will do some. I think we're gonna do some top 3 at each position videos for the top guys coming up in a week or two. So stay tuned for that. Maybe we'll do some top prospects. Maybe we'll talk about Adley Rushman, who looks already good. Who ready? Oh, well, it's the Orioles, so already MLB ready. ETA right now, obviously.
Yeah.
Currently 11.
You can spend minutes or hours or days just going through and checking all the stuff, and
Yes.
So we really did want to focus and spend a lot of time on these franchise stuff. The scouting and drafting certainly was kind of a big push this year to make sure that they're as big and as useful and as pretty as we could make them.
Love it. I bet all I've been doing today has just been going through like team by team and looking. Oh, Rockies. Tigers. Matt Manning, pretty good. Casey Mize, also pretty good. I think we see them both pitch at the Futures game last year.
Yeah, I think I think there's pretty much all of them were there, which is another part of the whole prospect system too that we've added in, is we have the prospects game as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's on your all-stud week festivities.
Yeah,
so
that should be cool. Where's what team's my guy on with no sleeves? Taylor Trammell.
Taylor Trammell. Is he Cincinnati still? Or I think I don't remember right.
Oh, that name wrong. Oh, no, right. El Paso is.
Padre, sorry.
Got him.
He said, I don't believe we have the sleeveless uniforms necessarily
Come on, man.
in yet, so
we need those. Is he not on my thing, man? Come on. Why are we scouting? What is going? Oh, he's out. That's probably why. I assume if they're unable to play, they're not going to show up there. I tried.
Taylor Trammell's number somewhere on that list. I think I saw.
Did you see it?
Yeah, it was someone there says his number.
85.
Yeah, so there's also other fun little things of adding in their prospect ranking on the player page too. So, you've got it right there. If you see that, oh, this guy's a top 100 guy, so let's see him right there.
Right up there. Prospect ranking 86. Sadly for 62 Tuffy and Hitman 1798, I did look for Tim Tebow before, but his prospect list does not go that deep.
Tebow's in the game somewhere, but not on the top lists.
So I was looking before, obviously. Because I was checking out his stats. Tebow was pretty good in AA. I feel like they rushed him to AAA. But he had a 276, 336, 399 slash in AA. Or triple slash. I think he would have been a lot better if he'd just stayed there for another season. We're wasting time. We're wasting time with Tebow talking about that.
Yeah, there's lots of other stuff so that's
no. The people are here for Tim Tebow talk.
The people are here for Tebow. That's
the Triple
fine.
T. Tim Tebow
give them
talk.
what they want. I think next on our list was some league expansion stuff that we've changed. Although I believe that's one item that we can't see during a season in progress.
This guy.
So I'm not. We either need to sim to an off season or load something else if you can.
I mean, let's keep talking about Tim Tebow while we try to sim through the season.
I can at least talk a little bit about the league expansion changes too, just to as we wait. So another thing that's bugging people, or that was bugging me and bugging a lot of other people too in the past, is how at the times you just get an email that says, congratulations, your league has added 2 teams, and and I forget what other city came up all the time on the expansion.
What was the first one you said? Because Indianapolis is always.
Oh, Indianapolis too. Yeah, sorry. It's always San Antonio and Indianapolis, I think, are the 2 that come up first. And
Wait,
that might still be the case.
Hold on. Do we have the power to change that?
Yes. So the big change that a big change that we've added with that now is that right now the system will change to, at the end of the season, if the league wants to expand, you basically get an email that says, your league has decided to expand, and that gives you an option to pull up a window where you can choose the expansion teams before the league actually goes through with the expansion. So if you don't like the choices, then you could change them. You could also use that window for just generally scheduling the league expansion if you just want to expand your league. And then as well with that too, we certainly made a lot of effort in making sure that your expansion team actually gets a team at every minor league level by default, instead of now where sometimes you get like, you know, 2 minor league teams in the same AA league just because we kind of screwed up somewhere. But so now you can have sort of full choice of, you know, what team goes in, what all their minor league teams, you know, go in, what division they all go to, and you can go through and, you know, have full choice of how the league expands before the league just snaps a couple teams, you know, in a spot for you.
Are you gonna have any of those options in challenge mode?
I think we're still debating exactly to what level this will happen in challenge mode. I think we should allow this essentially in challenge mode because in a lot of ways it doesn't really impact things too much. I mean, I don't think someone is just going to be like, let's expand the league and, you know, put all teams in small backwater cities that aren't going to have any money, because you have too many of them and suddenly that's everybody. But yeah, we're still kind of debating through how much this stuff will work in challenge mode or not.
Has there been any done? Hey, so how's it going? Has there been any work done to the trading AI?
So for the trading, I mean, we're always, you know, updating things on the trading AI and all the various AI methods. You know, we're always updating how players overall are rated. So I mean, I don't think we have anything specific to show off in terms of a lot of that, but he's working on things under. So trading AI, in-game substitution logics, you know, all that sort of stuff. Just, you know, always gets better and always keeps getting worked on, you know, well after release as well. So I don't stop working. I just keep going and wanted to fix things as much as I can. So
That never stops working, ever. Make the game perfect for you guys. Yeah, again, game still in super early beta. So if you see anything weird, like logos being weird or anything, don't worry about that. We'll have it all cleaned up for ready for the game. We got to make that SD a little bit smaller, Matt. Send the note, thanks. And the brewer's glove is about to eat the pirates. We're currently at August
yeah,
8th.
there's still there's still always stuff, you know, tweaking and stuff to go. So
Yeah,
don't treat this as the official prediction sim either.
Yeah, obviously Matt was hacking around with some stuff because Marcus Stroman having a 2.46 ERA. What are we doing here? Ronald Acuna 6.9 WAR though, so that's good. Do we have the loss of draft picks for the Astros in the game? And I guess the Braves didn't lose that draft picks, right?
Well, I believe for the draft picks, I mean, I think the default have the current, whatever the 2020 MLB draft is, it should be set correctly in the standard game. I think we still need to fix some things on there. Actually, look at your draft history here. It probably will be a random order, but I believe for 2020 at least it will be correct. I don't believe we have the ability to pre-delete future picks as well. So I think they also lost another couple of years in the future too. But at least the 2020 draft should be correct by release day once we have the last pieces ironed out.
Okay, just a heads up, Joey Gallo has 67 home runs and Malik Smith has 72 stolen bases. 74. Adalberto Mondesi's got 72 right on his heels.
We might have some league modifiers as well that need to be updated. Although there's some players playing beast mode here.
Joey Gallo ended up with a nice total. Gallo.
Although I mean, one of the other changes coming in too is we do actually allow the power stuff ratings to get a little bit higher than we did in the past too. So Gallo might actually be rated even higher in power than was ever possible in OTP history.
Yeah, game not yet final. 107 wins for the Yankees. 112 for the Dodgers. Not bad. Hey, Braves won the division. Duh. So the NL East is right. Everything else we got to work on. All right, so we want to look at league expansion. Can I do that right now, or do I have to?
Yeah, you should be able to do it. I think you can do it in the off season. So if you just go to your league settings, you can just manually schedule an expansion, and we can just very briefly at least show off the expansion widget.
Oh no, look. You got me thinking about the other thing. Got me thinking about what were we gonna do before MLB league settings?
So yeah, you can use the buttons on the functions on the left on the screen to expand the league, which should pop up with the expansion dialog. So, I mean, there's not a lot of, a huge amount of jazz on the dialog itself, but at least it gives you the choice of picking, this. So this is the default that the game would recommend for the teams.
It loves Indianapolis.
You can keep hitting randomize until you get the right mix that you want.
First off, we got the Texas Tornado and the Las Vegas Raiders. I think that's perfect, isn't it?
Yeah, I always feel sometimes the nicknames just come out like absolutely gorgeously, and then you get another time where it's,
Did they have a lot of coal in Jacksonville? The Jacksonville coal miners?
But yeah, so if you don't like the default setups, you can enter your own teams. You can change the nickname. If you click on the city, way to choose a different city. If you don't want El Paso or you don't want something else, you can pick whatever city you want.
I can't think of another city in Tennessee. Indianapolis, quit coming up. My. So if we wanted like Chula Vista, California, definitely not going to call them the Boston Bay Cats. California should probably not be in the NL East.
But there's other cool little things on this too that you don't necessarily always see. But when we randomly pick the two cities, we actually try to put them in the division that matches them geographically best. It doesn't always come out properly, just because sometimes you kind of there's some weird things individually, but we do actually make some effort now, as opposed to just kind of being like, I think the expansion team in Portland should be in the NL East, right? So.
Okay. Funny you mentioned that. The expansion team in Portland is set up for the NL West.
Yeah, there you go. They are certainly much closer to the rest of the West teams than the East teams. So there's some nice little things under the covers that come out with this. And then if you move on to the next step, you can do essentially all the same stuff with all the minor leagues. Because if you haven't had enough 2 city names, now let's randomize 12, I think.
Tucson Roughnecks, El Paso Arsenal, Las Vegas Lynx, the Barbarians. Oh my God, these are good names. Albuquerque Elephants. That should be just an expansion team on its own.
Yeah, so sometimes the minor leagues just take all the cool names. Essentially, this lets you, when you're expanding your league, you can choose again what league, what division, what city, what nicknames. You can choose all of this stuff before it starts scheduling things, so that you don't, if you really care, you really have the customization, or at the very least, we've put in the effort. Stuff just happens automatically. So if you don't, get to the email in time when the league expansion happens, then the league will just actually kind of still go forward with the expansion. I believe if the message pops up that says your league wants to expand, you can cancel that whole thing, so that you don't have to worry about it accidentally expanding on you if you're paying close attention. But yes, as said, at the very least, if the league does go expand, then you'll get teams. Teams will come in with a proper minor league setup as well.
The Bakersfield Thunder Bears.
Wow.
I'm all for that. I am all.
Yeah. So someone's got a new franchise they can run in the next season.
That might be my perfect team name. Bakersfield Thunder Bears. And I find a good logo for that. What else? Do we want to see anything else here in this expansion wizard?
I don't think there's too much. I think the next step in the wizard is choosing all the options for the actual expansion draft itself. So just making sure they're all in the same place together. I don't actually remember if we've actually added new options for there or not, but it was a long time ago that I did this, and I don't remember all the options in the previous version. But at least if you're expanding the league, you just have the options set up right here to choose.
Mm.
And then if you actually expand the league, then it goes through and schedules the draft, and you can go through all the protection list stuff and the actual draft itself. But at least it's kind of a nice way to, when you do expand, you can have some fun with it, or you can at least make sure that the league is doing things in a much smarter way than ever before.
San Antonio Hitmen and Jackson Gems will be new teams. Will Mexico offer cities for expansion? Yes. In Montreal. Surprised you didn't force Montreal to be one of the first ones.
Yeah, I think by default it might limit it to the league nation, so it probably only picks U.S. cities. I think by default. In the minor league options, there were some ways that you could have it force the minor league team to stay in the same country as the major league team. So if you expand to Montreal, you could have picked your minor league team so that they give, an all Canadian minor league system or like that. But we at least have the basic stuff going here.
I always forget that some people are Canadian and they say Montreal instead of Montreal. Obviously,
Yeah,
as it's properly pronounced. Let's take a look at the updated coach list page. Huh? How's that sound?
Yeah, so I guess that's the last thing we wanted to just poke around with briefly for this stuff that really matters, I think, to a lot of franchises. Is so one thing that we've been asking, or people have been asking about a lot, is give us, a way to sort coaches by, all the various information. Oh, you need a new bench coach. That's perfectly convenient.
I obviously set this up perfectly for this.
Yeah, so if you want to go hire a new bench coach, so if you click on the vacant button, that will bring you to your available coaches, the free agent ones. And I think we'll need to set this up as the defaults, but the important part of the coach list is that essentially all the same controls and filter and sorting that you get on the player lists are available here as well. So you can header and very quickly add filters, add columns, and do all that. And most importantly, I would say here, if you right click and add a column, you can add the two or customize your list too. You can add the two new columns of the management and development.
Where am I looking?
So on the right, so you got the relationships and your dev influence.
Mm-hmm.
And if you add those two columns,
added,
then you get a sortable list of every coach's relationship and development influence for the team that you're looking at and for the position you're looking at too. So if you're actually hiring for your minor league bench coach, this would be their influence relative to the minor league system. And you have it right here in a quick sortable list so that it's not taking you 4 hours to hire a bench coach or a double A manager. You can see kind of who's got the skills and the talents that you want.
The answer is always Doug Minkiewicz.
I mean, it might be, but at least now you don't have to take 4 hours to make sure that he's the best guy.
Yeah, he's gonna make Mechaniker better. That's all we care about, right? Shed Long, my guy.
So this things that people I've heard it so many times of like give us the sortable development stuff. There's I don't know how many people keep saying, I needed to hire a new coach. So I'd go to this list of all 29 pages and I'd click through one by one to see who's, matters the most. And at least you get the basics here. So I mean you still need to click through to see if it's, why is he excellent? Is that, he's got really good your team's pitchers or your team's hitters or whatever. But at least can narrow down the gap an awful lot here by default.
Yeah, my thing has always just gone by. I look at experience first, or no, I look at reputation first. I want to make sure they have a good reputation, and then I just go click one at a time, to see what the relationships and stuff are. But this is going to be way quicker.
Yeah, and this is just one of those quality of life things. And then again, the fact that the coach lists, do all of that the same and stuff that the player lists do is just so nice because it's you can rearrange the columns, you can customize and edit to your heart's delight, you can add crazy amount of filters if you want to exactly find the perfect mix of everything, and it just makes it so much easier, so much better for finding vacancies in your system.
Anything else you want to touch on?
I don't think there's actually anything else that I really wanted to hit on deep. I think last week and this week we've certainly given a lot of big details on everything. There's you know always more things that come in, and there's always a bunch of things that I forgot that even changed and that I forgot that I even did.
Oh,
But
we're even
we
squashing
certainly,
bugs on a daily basis.
oh yeah, we're hitting things all the time, and there's always a few things even from this stream and or from when we were talking earlier today that TJ found me something that went wrong and I went and fixed it, and just to keep going. But no, we've definitely put a lot of stuff in. I think to make the as you said, put a lot of focus on the scouting and the drafting, especially just to make sure that those are areas of the system that are actually fun to use, as opposed to just being like you know kind of a bore of day. Who's my first round pick? And hey, that's good. Send the rest of the draft. Now you kind of actually, certainly the time leading up to the draft, managing your scouting for the draft is kind of as a very interesting way to, how do you make sure you target guys and handle guys, and can you squeeze in that extra scouting report of a top pick just to know if he's the guy you want or not? Will certainly be a very interesting problem to handle for franchises.
Great question from Hitman 1798. When you're a manager, is there anything you can do to improve your ratings, such as your dev influence?
You can really do anything yourself to do that. So when you're a manager, kind of actually that kind of gets delegated to your bench coach. So hire a good bench coach, and that gives you, what you need.
Makes you look better by.
It makes you look better. They're kind of your on the ground proxy as a manager. Then
Yeah, and like Matt said, a lot of the stuff this year, stuff we got from the community, uh, stuff like all the sorting and filtering and all that stuff, is stuff that we got directly from the community. So if you guys aren't over at forums.ootpdevelopments.com, I highly recommend you get over there. If you see something that you want in the game, make a post. Let us know. There's a whole sub forum just for suggestions for future out of the park games. You can use that. If you see any bugs or anything, just let us know, and then we can fix them. I yell at Matt all the time. I find a bug, I say, Matt, fix this. And then literally today, I said, Matt, fix this, and he fixed it like 2 minutes later. But then he said it's not in the next build, so I'll be checking the next build to make sure that's not there.
yeah, you got to verify it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we're always taking suggestions. We're always taking feedback in. I mean, that's the one part that I love most is just, someone posts something one day on the forums. I read it and say, you know what, that would be really awesome to see, and then it's in the game like 2 days later. So, there you guys have some of the best ideas, and that's where we steal from all the time, and that's the best way of making the best game out there.
We're not really stealing the ideas. We're just
We're
doing
taking them
what
and using
we're doing.
them.
What you're asking, essentially. The game is for you guys, so we're trying to make it the best it can be for you guys. Obviously, didn't get to every question in the chat tonight. Tried to get to a bunch of them. So again, forums.ootpdevelopments.com. If you want to post over there, and answer as many questions as we can, or as many as they'll let us. What else we got? We got a great Discord channel. I think we're almost up to 5,000 people in our Discord. Discord.gg/OOTP. Check that out. Again, we're going to be doing some top 3 by position lists as we run up to the release. Tomorrow night, right back here, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, I'll be continuing my Redbirds Rising franchise. I think Rich is playing at 10 o'clock tomorrow night. Franchise Hockey Manager 6 stream on Wednesday. We got streams nonstop for you guys here. Thursday night. Yes, Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Chris is doing his Expos franchise. And Thursday night, 10 p.m. Rich is doing his Perfect Team playoff push. And then next Monday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, right here, Chris will be breaking down all the new stuff in Perfect Team for Out of the Park Baseball 21. What else, Matt? Tell me.
Pre-order. Put it on your Steam wish list.
Yeah, pre-order the game. Go to ootpdevelopments.com/pre-order. You can currently get the game 10% off, and you'll get access to the beta on March 17th. The full release is March 20th. So if you're going to get it on Steam, go over there, add it to your wish list there. And again, if it's a store like the Mac App Store or something else, if we're on the store, for the first week after release, we'll have it at 10% off. So you can still get those early savings, even if your store didn't have it. Definitely want to go in and look at what Joey Gallo did, because that was kind of ridiculous. Joey Pico Day.
I think I've also got a few more minutes that I talked with Rich this afternoon about the podcast coming out tomorrow. So just a little bit more details on the scouting and drafting that we went through today.
Even more stuff on OOTP now. Go search your podcast app of choice and get subscribed to that. Get subscribed to the Kevin Kennedy Show with Rich Grisham and also Kevin Kennedy. I mean, it's named after him. We didn't just name the show after him and then not have him on it. It's his show. Yeah, Joey Gallo is pretty good. Not bad for a $4 million player. I think just looking at Joey Gallo's page is a good way to wrap it up. Matt, you got anything else?
No, that's it. Thanks for having me on.
All right. Thank you guys for watching. Really do appreciate it. Again, forums.ootpdevelopments.com, discord.gg/OOTP, and most importantly, ootpdevelopments.com/pre-order, and get those pre-orders in. Thank you guys for watching. We got streams here all week. So make sure you're following us here on twitch.tv/OOTPdevelopments. And all of this stuff will be archived over on youtube.com/OOTPdevelopments. Thank you guys for watching. I really do appreciate it. See you again next one. I guess we'll look at the trailer again.